I just want to thank everyone for taking all the time that they did to bring this story together for you all, and I'm really excited about the journey that we're going to go on today. So I'm going to start by grounding us in some context. Yes, it's an AI plan, and I was really excited when I wrote that, but really this is about AI, right? So I want to give you the context for what's needed in order for you to go on this journey. Then I'm going to turn it over to Neha, who's going to give us the story of what Nvidia has done in their AI adoption journey. We know that integration is a really big challenge, and so they're going to share how they've overcome that obstacle within their own organization. I'm going to turn it over to Amira and Saurav, who are going to give us a demo on how MuleSoft is going to give you the tools for you to bring data from everywhere. We're going to leave some time to give you some tips and tricks on how to make the best out of your journey for the rest of the day here. And for those of the folks that are joining us online, I've got some tools for you too. I did not forget you. And of course, we'll open it up to some Q&A. So as we're sharing some of this information, make notes. We'll be ready for your questions at the very end. So let's get started. Integration is a top challenge for AI adoption. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties, this is fun. Well, I'll keep going. Integration is the #1 challenge that we hear. In a recent study, we saw that 95% of IT decision makers said, we are really concerned about our integration strategy when it comes to AI adoptions. By a show of hands, raise your voice, nod your heads, like, are you guys feeling this? Yeah, okay. For those watching, a lot of folks raising their hands. It is a top challenge. And it's not surprising. There's been a lot of technology disruption over the course of the last few decades with things like the introduction of SaaS, the migration onto cloud, automation. All of these things are things that organizations like yours are probably still grappling with, trying to figure out how do we implement these things? How do we implement them and build a good foundation to then move on to the next project? And as you start to think about generative AI, and 86% of IT leaders are saying, we're going to adopt generative AI. It's going to be something that's on our roadmap. We're not quite sure when, and we're not sure how, but it's going to be something that we implement. They're all saying, I've got to figure out a way to make all of these technologies that are coming at us something that's scalable, something that I can pivot with. In other words, how do I make my organization more future-proof? Because the only constant you know is change. So as you think about that, there's still a lot of other challenges that are going on, right? We found that on average, most organizations have 991 different systems within their organization. Of those 991 different systems, only about 1/3 of them are integrated. That's a lot. And so when you think about, that's just one piece of it. You're probably doing it in a multitude of different ways. There's not a consistent way that your systems are integrated to one another or into your user interfaces. You're also limited to the capacity that it has for your different technologies. You might have inconsistent ways of how that information is then secure and governed. There's a lot to think about. And so what we're saying is that there's manual processes. You've got to build the building blocks to put it all together. So this is thinking about your APIs, your LLMs, all the data that's coming together for it. This is even before you start to think about generative AI. So how do you put it all together? Because generative AI is just going to compound the issue. And there's a couple of different ways that you can approach this. You can do the traditional status quo, like we do point-to-point, or, well, this is just the way we've always done it, and that's fine. But what we hear from decision makers is it's complicated, it's not giving us the ability to scale, it's not really going to grow with us, and so there's challenges. You could do a homegrown system. You could say, we've got this, we're going to figure this out. But the reality is if you're already dealing with challenges on resourcing your other IT projects, it's going to be even more difficult and costly for you to think about doing a homegrown system. You can also think about different external systems that you can piece together. But again, it comes down to building something that's future-proof and that's going to give you the ability to scale, particularly over time, at a faster rate. So what does that look like? As technologies are converging, we really think that these are the things that you're going to want to consider. First of all, it's the foundation for integration. This is about unlocking data from all your different systems. As you build that foundation, then it's the APIs doing so in a way that they are going to be secure, that you're going to be able to monitor and govern them, democratizing the data for the systems of record for the right levels of IT teams and potentially your different business teams. How do you go ahead and do that? It's only then that you can start to think about automation and creating these efficiencies and creating these efficiencies in your processes. They're going to drive productivity. Then can you start to think about how you're going to leverage artificial intelligence in a way that's going to give you the ability to create those experiences for both your customers and your employees. So there's a lot going on. At the core of it, when it comes to AI, there's 4 essential elements. 1, data, right? I started with my data joke, but really it's the grounding. What's the context that you're giving to these AI models? How's the data going to be utilized? And what's the right data? I think that if I have a conversation with an AI bot, I want it to have all my context and all my information because I want it to be accurate and I want it to be fast. Then it's the user interface. How am I, as a customer, going to interact with you, your company, all my data? And as an employee, what are the tools that are available to me to be able to do my job more efficiently? The model. We hear a lot of customers saying, I'm leveraging external models. Some of them are saying, I'm not sure. We're going to build our own models. That's fine, but you know that you're going to take all that information, put it in a system that's going to generate some of the outcomes. And then finally, of course, the outcomes. What are the things that you're trying to ground on? What are the actions? What are the outputs that you really want to generate out of this implementation of artificial intelligence? We have 4 steps in terms of how to think about this implementation broadly. And first of all, it starts with connecting. So this is really the foundation of integrating all of your different data, thinking about all your 991 different systems of record. How are you going to take and bring in all this information together to give it context? Then it's the composability, not just how are you going to have these APIs interact with one another for the different systems of record, but how are you going to then use the composable building blocks so that you can change and adapt to whatever's coming to us after this AI movement or after generative AI, what's next? Then, of course, it's the control. It's going back to that management of governance and security, thinking about your APIs, all the data that's being exposed. You've probably heard us talk a lot about the Einstein Trust Layer over the last day and a half. And this is something that Salesforce is really, really proud of, being able to give you the opportunity to leverage all the technology that's out there. Using external LLMs, but being able to have your data flow into them, leveraging the LLM in a way that the Einstein Trust Layer helps you protect your data so you're not exposing it out there for anyone to consume. And then finally, it's taking the action. So we talked about the outcomes, right? Actions is that separate thing because the outcome is what's the output, but the action, think of it in terms of maybe it's a credit card refund. Maybe it's a cancellation of a subscription. Maybe it's the creation of a subscription. The outcome might be the message that comes to me. The action is how is that action then going into triggering or orchestrating something, an activity that then goes into a different system of record. There's a lot here. At the end of the day, MuleSoft and Salesforce Flow are the product portfolio that, of course, we at Salesforce think are the foundation to all of this. Because with MuleSoft and Salesforce Flow, you have the ability to connect all of your data regardless of where it sits, particularly with homegrown, legacy, and hard-to-reach systems. You can start to take action through automation by using Salesforce Flow and all the orchestration capabilities, not to mention RPA. And later today, we'll be talking about intelligent document processing, which is the new product that'll be coming out soon. And then how do you scale and how do you think about this over time? You've heard a lot about Einstein and Einstein One Platform over the last day and a half. This, too, is something that's really critically important. The bottom part that you see here on the slide shows you how MuleSoft fits into all of this. And this is just the integration, API management, and automation buckets. There's so many product pieces that tie into this. But just to give you a sampling of, these are all the pieces. I want to turn it over now to Neha, who's really going to bring all of this to life, and I think share with you something that all of you have been excited to hear. So I'm going to invite Neha to the stage and turn it over to you.
Patty.
Thank you.
That's right. We talked about how we connect data, how we compose data, how we collect it, how we control, and how actually that comes out as a result to that. That's exactly what we are doing exactly. All the steps, all the process actions is what we are currently doing at the Nvidia. Hi, I'm Neha Patil. I'm a senior software engineering integration engineer at Nvidia. I have been into integration space and MuleSoft for quite a long time, and we have seen a lot of innovations. How can we use AI to build something faster and quickly? What MuleSoft is doing, like the APIs and applications, but that's not just the limitation of MuleSoft. You can also use MuleSoft to actually create an AI product out of that. How is what? Let's see. All right. So I'll be, the bot is what I'm talking about. What we have created in Nvidia is basically a bot created by Nvidia employees for Nvidia employees on Nvidia technology. Let me take a step back. When I joined Nvidia, or when you join any new company, what's your starting process looks like? You need some access, you need to know what code SVN repository, or basically what products they do use, what is their ticketing platform, is it a ServiceNow, Jira, or how do I enroll into my tax details, my health insurance, all those things. So you basically, on an average, every employee, Patty just mentioned we have like 991. I'm not going right there. That's a big number. But on an average, every employee uses 7 to 8 applications in your day-to-day work life. So why not, and what do you usually standardly, the traditional approach, you open 7 tabs in your Chrome, you open 7 applications, and then you go it, or you basically have to, find a buddy when you join a new company, reach out to people, there is a team DLs and all those, and then that's how, it's a lot of back and forth. You request for access, then you come back, sometimes it works, it does not. All of this, basically the hustle is what we are trying to help for our internal employees. So that's basically the first point, which is basically speed up access to the different services. As I just mentioned, act as a customer zero. What better could be your own employees to test your product at first hand. We had a couple of revisions internally. We had a 1.0, now there is a 2.0. So this is basically the feedback and iteration based product. So that's how it is helping, and not just for this employee productivity. All of the outcomes, the sentiments on the data, what we have gathered and processed throughout all this NVBot journey is basically you can use that, and you can make a decisions on your actual project deliveries. It's not just restricted to help your employees. That is basically your plus point. And there is an AI component, unblock data to develop all of this. I mean, without data and without training data, you can't actually get or build any AI product. When there is a MuleSoft, there is always an API-led architecture. That's how this goes. MuleSoft got famous because of the API-led architecture. Similarly, we at Nvidia also, we are following the API-led architecture. You have a system layer, you have a process layer, you have an experience layer. So the bot is basically available in 2 interfaces. One is a Slack-based channel. It's very convenient. Everyone uses Slack. Nothing new or no special onboarding process required or adaptation required. And then you have a web application. I'll be showing in a couple of my screenshots going forward. So when we talk about API-led architecture, yes, why do we have a couple of process level? Because one of the use cases is NVBot, but the system data is not directly consumable to the bot. They need a lot of processing, they need a couple of filtration, transformation, all those things. Why do we, where does that happen? That happens at the process level. That's the foundation. That is the basic foundation of your MuleSoft architecture. So we have a couple of process APIs, and then we have a system APIs. Most of them, the overall design architecture, we also thought in the mind that this is not only serving the use case of NVBot, it's also for it's a reusability. There are other people who wants to get some different information from ServiceNow, let's say, or GitLab or Jira. It still be using the same system APIs. All right, all we talked about basically how can we collect and consume the data. Now it comes to the part where it gets transformed to the control and action parts. So MuleSoft at Nvidia is not just helping to get and gather that data so that we can use it. It also it's also actually helping a little bit on the control part of it. So in Nvidia, we have our in-house LLM, which is a NeMo LLM platform, and we also have a third-party LLM. So MuleSoft is acting as a API gateway layer on top of all the gateways provided and available within the Nvidia. Now, why do we need API? Why do we need MuleSoft API or gateway basically when we have a direct access to all those LLM? Currently, there are limited, single-digit number, I would say, or two-digit number of LLMs and models we have. Going forward, it will for sure increase, and then for every use case or every bot, they have to connect to all those LLMs and API individually, separately. Every API or every LLM model, every LLM service has different authentication services, all those things. To have that unified, secured way to Nvidia enterprise level, to have that unified way, the API layer of the MuleSoft comes into the picture, that the user on the caller, today it's an NVBot, tomorrow if something changes at the LLM side or internal NeMo side, or let's say for example open API side, the consumer or the NVBot still remains the same intact. I mean, that's the foundation of the microservice basically. So to have that unified and designed approach to get access to all the APIs, all the LLM models supported within and also to the external, is why we have a MuleSoft API gateway level. And not just that, security, governance, you can have, you can grab and gather that data and also have, stats and all those things defined and derived from that, and make a decisions, because for the external API, for the external LLM details, you will need that to make that decision at the company level. All right. So, sorry. So this is how, I'll come to this screenshot. This is how the normal journey looks like. Let's say, for example, Barbara wants to know some information. As I was mentioning earlier, you will basically go for that, open that page, website, try to understand and figure out. But otherwise, what usually will happen is, there's a bot or application, you just ask your question in layman plain English language, because that's how, and then it gathers the information through the MuleSoft layer, and then using the LLM, using the generative AI, natural language processing and all those capabilities, it then just gets answer back to the user. So due to sensitivity, I could not get a lot of examples, but this is basically, I thought holiday will be the famous example for everyone. So I just asked, it's my screenshot actually, I just asked like, what are my holidays? I want to book my plans, I want to book the travels and tickets. I don't have to go and see where all those things are listed. You just ask and you get the details of all the holidays. There are multiple such examples you can think of. It also works in a context expansion. I'm discussing my current Jira story with one of my colleagues in a Slack. So it gives you the information, who is that story assigned to, who is a reporter, date, status, and all those things. Every day in and out, you work on a GitLab, your merge request, all those details. You want to know about X employees, you want to XYZ employees, like just heard the name, but you want to know what is the hierarchy and all those details. You just type a query or type a question, who is XYZ, and then you will get an answer. And it's not just limited to direct answers. So the way this product has been designed, using the responses of MuleSoft APIs, generative AI capabilities and all those, it tries to give you, not just the direct information, the more information we have, KB knowledge articles, we have supporting links, for example, for anything. In this case example, if my laptop is not working, there could be thousands reasons. I may or may have to, create a ServiceNow ticket or do something. So whatever the links, helper documents we could find out within the Nvidia or within the enterprise internally, it gives you the whole history and the background and the details of that context, so that, according to that, user can take an action. So that's all. So as we have started, MuleSoft is basically, was a plus point. All those C's, all those actions, control, consume, collect, and then take an action. MuleSoft has been helping throughout this Nvidia NVBot journey from start to end. And that's all. I'll hand it over to Amira.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll step right into it of how MuleSoft can connect data from anywhere. All right, we'll begin with this use case. We have Sabrina. She's a customer service agent representative at Trailblazer Co. Right now, she's receiving orders via email with a purchase order attachment to it. She has to manually enter those into the order management system, and you can only imagine what that could cause, right? It's very error-prone, time-consuming, and creating operational inefficiencies. Now, she has to also swivel chair into many different systems to find the accounts, inventory, and orders in order to answer the customer. As you can see, the customer's upset. We don't really like that because a successful business runs on happy customers, right? And so now, imagine if we can automate that process with intelligent document processing workflow. And now the information can be extracted and sent to the OMS system, along with taking MuleSoft to send the orders, log it into the ERP, order management system to fulfill those as well. So now that process that you saw in the prior screen, as I head back, the orange portion, that's where it's being replaced with MuleSoft. And then with that, Sharav will show us the amazing demo he has. Thank you.
So what I have for you today is we will start with Sabrina and how she used to do case management before. When she received any cases about orders, she would have to swivel chair between OMS system, between emails, dig through all that data. But with MuleSoft and Salesforce's new Einstein Copilot, we will see how she can actually get all of that data that's available in the OMS system, in emails, in context. So instead of having to swivel chair between the systems, she can just talk to Einstein, and Einstein knows what's available because MuleSoft has powered that integration, unlocking data from emails as well as OMS system, and she can look up the orders right away by asking conversational question with Einstein and perform the actions she needed to so that she can close that case pretty easily without having to go through all of the systems. Now, when an email comes in, if we check out how MuleSoft was able to automate the email flow, when an email with a purchase order comes in, the MuleSoft automation sends it to our intelligent document processing, which really intelligently extracts all of the pertinent information from documents like invoices, purchase orders, and extracts it out in a very intelligent way so that you can send it to other integration, update your OMS systems, update your ERP. All of that can be automated using just intelligent document processing. And now, with the power of that, we've made it available again to Einstein so that Einstein can help Sabrina actually look at what's available again so she can, within Service Cloud itself, not having to swivel chair, she can actually just perform her job and do it all within one system. Now, we've unlocked data from that email system, but in the process, Trailblazer Co. used MuleSoft methodology that Neha so pointed out to build APIs around their order management systems. Now those order APIs are available within Anypoint Exchange, which is MuleSoft's repository or marketplace, if you will, that makes it discoverable within the whole organization. Anybody who needs that data can go in, request access, and as you can see, within the console itself, test out the API. Now, imagine we had a B2B use case coming in where we had to accept order through B2B. Now, they've already built their orders API. They've easily able to leverage it, run it, and create those orders using the APIs in the B2B system as well. And lo and behold, that makes all the data available for UI tools like generative UI tools like Einstein, so that it's available there in context, able to help her. And all of that data that would have been trapped if we're not for MuleSoft automation is now available for Einstein to be able to make service agents like Sabrina's job a lot more easier and making her productive as well. Now, this is a sneak peek on how Trailblazer Co. was easily able to implement all of that complex automation in a low to no code environment, just dragging and dropping flows in our Anypoint Code Builder, which is the IDE, the latest IDE of MuleSoft, which lets you drag and drop connectivity right into complex integration flow, whether it be Gmail, SAP. There are 300s of different out-of-the-box connectors that you can be using to create these integration flow so that you can unlock all of that data that's trapped within your different systems, but now it's available so that tools like Einstein can help you. With that, I will pass it back to Amelia.
That's the dream demo, right? That's the dream workflow, right? Rather than going on and then manually entering this into the order management system, having something like an IDP to automate that would save so much time for your customers because we don't want them upset, we need them happy. All right, and so now we're going to look at how this has been created. This is our composable architecture to unlock that trapped data that Saurabh has mentioned. Along the bottom is the system of records. I believe there's Salesforce on the screen. There's an OMS system, your ERP, that manual email, and then you also have the order fulfillment of choice of yours. Today we have the UPS system that Trailblazer Co. is using to fulfill those orders. As Neha mentioned in her Nvidia architecture, we take that system layer and we create that encapsulation or unlocking of data in the various disparate systems that are siloed that you have to swivel chair across. And now we built that process layer to orchestrate the workflow where we put in a customer management profile and a fulfillment process to take the data from the system layer and make it an actual workflow where you can follow through and connect into it. And for the experience layer, since on the service side that we demoed, we have the Service Cloud experience. And with these all built, imagine if you want to add an e-commerce platform, if you want to add a chatbot, or if you want to add a B2B, as Saurabh mentioned, you can go ahead and do that and just connect it into that customer profile to unlock all that data that you have trapped under. And then with that, you have a closer look into the MuleSoft portfolio. You saw that you had to swivel chair into many different systems, but if you have a one-stop shop such as MuleSoft in order to do your API management, your integration automation, this is where you would go. You can also govern and secure your APIs as well. And I can leave this on the slide so you can take a photo. All right, perfect. And then from that, you get to maximize your time at TDX. I hope you've been enjoying it. There's a lot of things going on. And I'll pass that back to Patty.
Thank you so much, Amir and Saurabh. That was, I know, a lot of work, especially having to learn new technology of the new products that we've got out there. But there's still some time left at TDX, so there's still a lot for you to do. I want to encourage you, whoop, I went back. I want to encourage you to go to another breakout session this afternoon. One of my colleagues is going to be talking about integrating faster with Einstein for Anypoint Code Builder. Anypoint Code Builder is the foundational integration platform that we have. So great if you want to take a deeper dive into that session. It'll be in this room at 2 o'clock, so maybe go grab a snack since you potentially missed lunch, go to that and then come back. There's also demos. MuleSoft Mountain is just outside this door and a little bit to your left. There's great demos there. I would encourage you to start with the Anypoint Code Builder because, again, it's the foundational piece, but you can learn more about API management. You can learn more about Flow Orchestrator and a lot more of our products. For those online and for those of you that are starting on your AI journey, this is a great thought leadership piece that'll give you the overall foundation for how we think about integrating and delivering great customer experiences with AI. So take a snapshot of this, or we'll make sure to link it out for follow-up.